Hey everyone, it's me, KatieBeth again, with an episode of what I'm calling today of Can She Do It? Well, you see, it's St. Patrick's Day, and I've promised my roommates that I'll make corned beef and cabbage, which I've never even tasted before. I've seen it on TV shows and it looked disgusting, like comes out of a can, but I recently learned that that's not the only way to make it. You can actually get actual meat that cuts up and might be delicious. So today's mission is to find some corned beef brisket and the vegetables and whatnot to go with that and bake that up. The big challenge I see is that it's St. Patrick's Day and trying to find corned beef brisket might be a little difficult. Last year for Cinco de Mayo, I went shopping for carne asada the night before Cinco de Mayo, and we had no luck. We had to buy chicken and flavor it to taste like carne asada. But now on St. Patrick's Day, I'm trying this corned beef and cabbage thing, so let's go and see what kind of luck we have. Woo. So I'm leaving Stater Brothers right now, and they said they do sell corned beef brisket, but they do not have any in stock. So seems like Cinco de Mayo is happening again. I'm gonna head to Walmart. I heard Walmart might sell some. Again, so I don't know much about corned beef, but I think I found a beautiful piece. It's about 3 pounds, flat, and looks really great. I'm excited about this. Yay, Walmart. So while I was there, I picked up some cabbage, but there was gross stuff on the cabbage. Like, see that gunk on the bottom? There was more, but I had already wiped it off, but beggars can't be choosy. And while I was there, I also got little potatoes. I couldn't decide if I wanted the red or the white ones, so I got both. And I picked up some baby carrots and some red onions while I was there. And this is what about $25 worth of groceries looks like, but not bad to feed 4 people. And I decided this was a job for the big Instant Pot, so I got my ladder out and got the big Instant Pot from the garage and brought it in to start cooking. So I'm starting to get a little concerned because all the videos I had watched had a packet of seasoning that went with it to have the corned beef seasoning. This one seems to be pre-seasoned, but it doesn't look super seasoned. The package just says put all the juices in this meat package in there. But I'm not sure how that's gonna work. Let's open this up and see what we get. Juice on my arm. Is it 2 pieces? I guess it's 1 piece with a lot of fat on top, and then in the middle there's gonna be fat on top. Now I watched in a video to leave the fat on to cook, and then it should just peel right off after. Let's see. Ugh. Okay. So pour the blood juices in. Ugh. I can't do that. That's too gross. Cannot do that. So the instructions that I liked the best said to put at least 2 cups of water in this, but it's best if you can cover the whole meat, not going past the max line, which I think will be fine. I'm gonna put another 2 cups in there. So the lady whose instructions I liked the best said it's best to cover it, so I'm gonna keep pouring more because it's not even close to the max line. So I probably could cook all the vegetables and everything at once. Ooh, I'm debating cooking everything at once or doing as the lady said and then cooking the vegetables after in the water that it makes. That now seems a little ridiculous to me, especially because there's not really a ton of seasoned looking water. I guess the meat makes it seasoned after. I'm gonna go ahead and just plop in the veggies now and see what that does. Giving the potatoes a quick wash and the red potatoes too. So I did just realize now with 1 pack of potatoes in there, all the other vegetables I'd have to put in there, like the cabbage and other potatoes and carrots, and that just will not fit to that max line or below that max line. So since I already put these potatoes in, and I'm not going to pull all of these meat touching potatoes out, I guess after these are done cooking, I'll cook the next load of vegetables or cook them in my separate, tinier Instant Pot. So I don't know how this is going to turn out, but since I already had the one type of potatoes in there, I figured might as well add the other ones in there. And then I will use the tinier pot to cook the cabbage and the carrots when that comes time. But because they won't be meat flavored, which I think they're supposed to be, that's the point of cooking them in the meat water, I'll probably add like a bouillon cube, or if I'm done with the meat by that time, I will just add the meat water in. And I have decided to go ahead and add another 2 cups of water to this. And nothing's floating up because there's so many potatoes in there. It's all staying below the line. I might actually add some more. Wait, I just realized I don't need to add all this water because it's a pressure cooker. But I've already started, so I might as well. Okay, it's up to the max line now. Here's what it looks like. And just in case it needs to spill over, there's this little spill gauge on the outside where it can let go some of that extra water. I think that's how it works. Oh, I guess I'll see what happens. So I've read that you can cook it on high for 90 minutes or press the stew button. So I think I'm gonna be doing that. Vent to, not vent, vent, seal, sealing. It's on sealing. And let's go with meat stew. It says it's only going to be for 35 minutes on normal for high. I'm not sure how that's supposed to work since it's supposed to cook on high for 90 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and do the 90-minute thing because I don't think 35 minutes is going to do it if it's supposed to be 90 minutes. So cancel, pressure cook on high. But now we have all those potatoes in there. I don't know if the potatoes will be dying at 90 minutes. Well, then I guess I'll have mashed potatoes, so let's cancel that, pressure cook. 90 minutes is 1 hour and 30 minutes. All right, it's already on pressure cook. Let's see how this goes. It's on. Ooh. So while that stuff's getting going and I still have the kitchen to myself, I figured I'd prep the rest of the stuff and get it going. I did give this cabbage a thorough wash over after that gunk that was on it at the store. Ugh. My little Instant Pot is a lot littler, smaller. This pot might just be big enough for just cabbage. Guess I'll be cooking everything in sections. Add water. So I did just add some water to it to see if everything would float up, and not so much. So I think I can at least cook half the cabbage. I doubt everyone's gonna wanna eat a lot of cabbage. I probably will not. If so, we can cook up this tiny little piece. But I wanna get some onions in there for color. Yes, I also washed the onion. We're not totally gross. Really gross, but not totally. Meh. Don't know if the carrots are going to fit in here. Let's see. Ooh, I try to fit them in all the crannies so that it is not too full. So this is pretty much slightly above the max, but I think it will still be okay. I forgot to add my bouillon cube. So since it's supposed to be in beef water, I'm gonna add one of these little beef cubes. Beef flavor cubes is what I'm going to add to some water. So before this thing's totally pressurized, I moved it in closer to the center of the counter just because, still there. Our fire detector is right above the kitchen island here, and I'm afraid of the steam from this setting it off. I don't want to unplug it now, and maybe I'll have to unplug it now and move it. It just doesn't really fit anywhere else since it's so ginormous. Okay, so I melted a beef cube, and I'm just flavoring the water. Everything's still barely above the measurement, but the water didn't make it jump up anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and I guess get this started. Well, it's really not gonna take that long to cook these. But I did just put some hot beef water over them. I think I'm just gonna prep it, get it ready to be cooked, and then cook it when that's closer to be done. So while I was waiting for the corned beef to cook, I decided to make some sugar-free kettle corn with this keto sugar. So I got about a tablespoon of sugar, put in a drop of that dye and tried to mix it up, and it's a gel dye, so it just stuck. And it wasn't spreading very well, but I didn't give up. I just kept smooshing it in there and stirring. And eventually it kind of started to turn green. So I had to keep mixing it in there. And eventually I was able to get a pretty green color that I could be happy with. And then I moved on to the salt. I was using pretzel salt. So the kernels are a little bigger than I want for kettle corn. So I put about a half a teaspoon in this smoosher and just started smushing it to make it finer so it's not as large a kernels as salt that just gets stuck to your tongue. And when I felt pretty okay with that, I poured it into another jar and put another drop of this gel dye. And again, it wasn't really moving. So I got a little spoon and started smooshing it all around, stirring it and smooshing it. And also it eventually started to turn green. It's a darker green with this, and I don't know if it's because it's the salt or maybe I put a little more dye. But either way, I thought it's cool to have a different color for the sugar and salt. And then I started the popcorn. I used about 4 tablespoons of popcorn. It was 3, now it's 4. And then popped it on up. And then poured it into this large mixing bowl. And I read that you have to spray it with some type of cooking oil or something for sugar or salt or seasoning to stick to popcorn. And I just used my olive oil spray. And then mixed it up. And it didn't seem like it stuck that well, so I went in with another round of spray and another round of sugar and salt. And it's not super colorful, like just enough, I guess. And again, and I'm just going to toss the rest of it in there. And then give it another good shake. And then I started eating it, and it's super addicting. It wasn't too sweet or salty, it was just perfect for a light snack. I tried to make this a little cute. And then I put some cookies around a bowl of it to make it presentable for serving. And those are Aldi brand cookies. So now the grand reveal of vegetables. And it looks like they cooked really well. You can hear it boiling in there still. So it looks really good. Kind of glad I didn't cook them for 90 minutes. Give a little poke test. Very well cooked, very steamy. Let's try these carrots. And yeah, the carrot's delicious. So my plan is to pull this out and put it on here to cut. I don't know if it's gonna work. Woo! It's actually working pretty well. Drain all the water out. I'm excited. What is that? Oops, it's dripping. It's dripping. So it was not all the way done draining. Okay, I'm just gonna do it. Woo! So I'm gonna try to cut this. Trying to cut it so everyone can get a nice pretty slice, but it's cabbage. I don't know. Okay, so I failed so far at cutting this into the nice orderly pieces. Let's try with the next piece. Ooh, that's a nice slice. Okay. So still not perfect, but I'm a lot happier with these guys. I picked the purple onions because I wanted the color, but the color really drained out. Drained out. Strained out? Alright, so this already cooked for 90 minutes. And now it's already been cooling down for 21. It's not going to be all the way depressurized. So I tried to move it as far away from the fire alarm thing on top as possible. So I'm going to move out of the way a little. I'm trying to angle the air that way. Let's see. Yeah, I think it'll be okay. Yeah, bubbling out of the quick release. That's new to me. I have not seen that before. So I'm really big on smells. Not big, I just smell everything. And I haven't been able to figure out what that smell is in the house right now. It's cabbage. The smell of cabbage is filling, aromatizing the house right now. Oh, the cabbage. So it seems to be de-steamed, depressurized. The little red dot went down already. Let's give it an open. Woo! And it looks exactly like stew. Weirdly, the stew is also meat colored. So I'm really just not sure what to do next. I think I'm going to scoop some of the potatoes out and then try to get the meat out. Oh, the potatoes aren't as disintegrating as I thought they would be. That's good. I was a little afraid that it would just be meat and a bunch of mush. That potato actually did mush. That's more what I was expecting, but the whole thing. Seems the potatoes that had their head bobbing out of the water are the ones that survived a little better. Of the 90 minutes high pressurized cooking. Oh, the meat's just like floating up. As soon as I got the potatoes off, the meat is just floating to the top. They're like rocks holding that ham down, or beef brisket. Okay, I think I have just about enough potatoes moved. to be able to retrieve, oh, a few more in the way, to be able to retrieve this meat. It's got potatoes on here. I think it's gonna splash. Woo! Woo! I did get a little hot splash on my arm from that potato that fell back in. This brisket did shrink a lot. Shrunk in a ton. At least I remember being a lot larger piece of meat. Let's get some of these potatoes off. And it's just falling apart. I think that's kind of what it's supposed to do. I may have cooked it a little too much. I was hoping to get those nice slices. I need to flip this over to be able to get the fat off. Okay, so maybe I'll just scrape the fat off. Hi.
Are you shooting?
Yeah. So the fat was kind of easy to get some of it off. I forgot that this being a brisket would be so freaking fatty. But I feel like I'm one of the only people that actually bugs. Woo! Woo! I'm gonna bring the camera so you can see this. So that's all the fat in between layers of brisket. Trying to cut this layer of gelatinous fat off. So I'm super glad not to have the canned one because I'm pretty sure the canned version would just have all this fat mixed up in it and pickled in there. And if this is one of your favorite foods and this pickled fat is your favorite part, let me know. I could be doing this all wrong. And would also greatly love to have you at my house to eat all this gross gelatinous fat. So you can see the spots where I didn't get all of the fat out because it's just in there. But a big difference between this and this. Just, ooh. Oh, also another tip that I got from watching somebody on YouTube is to cut against the grain of the meat so that it stays in slices. Whereas if you cut with the grain, it would just be coming apart in strings like this. So you have to cut against the grain to keep it in slices. So I tried the trick of cutting against the grain on this half, and it's not working quite as well. I think because it's so well cooked, it's just super tender and falling apart, but it's still actually, no, it is working. It is staying in place, just some of the sides are breaking up, but overall it's still staying mostly in steak strips. And here we go. This is 3 pounds of corned beef. So I'm scooping through this to get all the potatoes out. And these ones actually stayed together really well. I retract my statement that the ones underwater are falling apart because they are not. Also getting little bits of brisket in here. So here is the final presentation of our St. Patty's Day feast. So I had this idea of using, instead of beer, because we don't have beer, sparkling cider or the flavored waters, and putting green food coloring in and seeing if we can do like a green beer thing. So let's see. Woo! Uh-oh. I'll clean it. So I have the idea that because this is yellow, I'm going to put blue and then put green in the clear one. But the only food colorings they had were gel. So I don't know how well gel's going to work.
I'm not sure about gel and drink, but I don't know. We'll see.
Seems to work really well.
Come on.
So the green worked super well. The blue, I ended up putting 2 or 3 drops, which is way too much, and now it is blue. And now I just thought a time lapse of my roommates and I getting our dinners was pretty funny. So please enjoy this time lapse of us all getting our food and Ashley and Mel playing on their phones while getting their food. So here's my final plate of food, and not gonna lie, I was surprised at how good it was. So I'm pretty excited. It actually worked out pretty well making corned beef and cabbage for my first time. When I pulled that brisket out of the pot, I thought it was going to be super fatty and gross, but since I cut the fat off, it was actually pretty good and not too fat at all for brisket at all. And with all that extra fat that I put on the side, one of my roommates did eat it, so it didn't go to waste. The tiny meal of corned beef and cabbage turned into a bigger meal because after I started making it, then I also wanted to make a dessert and a colorful drink. The drink was a bit weird since I used a flavored water and it was green. It was real weird for my brain. But the sparkling cider that turned out blue because I miscalculated colors and then no one else wanted to color their drinks. But that was less weird for me to have a blue colored sweet drink than green water. But other than the water, everything else seemed to turn out pretty okay. Well, thanks for being on this journey with me. I'm headed to the gym right now. All that brisket gave me a lot of energy. And since the sun is going down and I don't want to be in my house just bouncing off the walls, I'm going to the gym to bounce off those walls. Well, have a great night, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching, and I can't think of a cool tagline, so stay briskety. Yeah. Good night.
You can't really marry, like...
Any luck on hobby finding, Ashley?
No.
You're also on camera, just letting you know.
Sorry.
It's fine as long as you know.
I'd say it's late enough. 6 o'clock?
Ugh, cutting onions was a bad idea.